Hey everyone, welcome to your week 5 launch for US history in the Summit Learning Platform. Just to recap where we are and where you should be right now, the Revolutionary America Focus Area is the very first one that you'll see. And so far only 4 of 9 of you have completed that. So that number is, at this point, if you're following the pace chart, this should have been done. So there are 5 of you that need to get working and get working soon so that you don't continue to fall further behind. Right now you're not too far behind because I've stretched it out for this first project that there's less work to do than normal. So you do have time to catch up, but please get started soon. The American History Mythbusters project is also, I'm not happy with the numbers. So checkpoint 1 was due on the 12th and only 1/3 of you have completed that. So the focus area, if I were you, I would go in and I would always do the focus area first. So the Revolutionary America focus area is where you're learning that content that could help you apply it to the project and do better. So I would always do the focus area and then work on the project. So the project is one that takes about, normally there's 6 to 8 weeks to complete. But they're broken down into 5 or 6 checkpoints. So you want to make sure you're not waiting for all of it till the last minute. So you should be doing the first checkpoint by this time. So make sure that you're, at the end of this week, you should be finished with that Revolutionary America focus area and at the very least have submitted checkpoint 1. Checkpoint 2, 2 of you have completed. That is due on the 26th. So by the next time we do this launch, you should have checkpoints 1 and 2 complete, as well as the Revolutionary America focus area. We do have people that are working ahead, and that's great. They are finished with checkpoint 3 that is not due until October 3rd. So attendance, don't be this kid. This kid is in class but not actually there. So just so you know, in order to get perfect attendance each week in your courses, you need to complete the weekly instructional launches that get launched every Monday. And then you need to submit work on 5 days a week or end the week on pace. So that means that you are to complete approximately 3% of the course each week. It's harder to tell what that is in the summit because it's not as concrete, it's more abstract. So in order for me to give you full attendance, you should be where I have outlined on the pace chart. So if you're not there and you're not showing consistent effort and logging in 5 days a week and working, you will start to see that you're being marked absent. It's the same as this kid showing up and just sleeping through his class. He's not actually working. So if you're not working 5 days a week or ending the week on pace, you will start to see those absences add up. So for this week, we are going to look into the cognitive skill of synthesizing your sources. That basically means you look at your primary source and you're looking into what material is in there, what is important. So when you're talking about what the main idea is in the details, you want to be able to look into that and then compare it and contrast it to other sources. So let's just watch this video. Whoops. Sorry about that. Go back in.
We're going to look at the domain of using sources and the skill of synthesizing multiple sources. Synthesizing multiple sources is synthesizing information across multiple sources to support an argument or explanation.
Take a moment, pause the video, familiarize yourself with your level.
So why is synthesizing multiple sources important? Think about constructing an argument. The more pieces of evidence you have for that argument, the more credibility it will have. And then in addition, the more similar types of evidence from multiple sources you have for that argument will also add strength to it.
Here are a few different ways that you could group together your synthesis of multiple sources. You could compare them by looking at their support and opposition to a particular issue. You could look for similar authors, whether they're from the same time period or similar backgrounds. The type of source, so are they both primary sources? Is it a primary versus a secondary source? And what format they take? You could also look at when they were written, the time period, and in general, the topic. What are they about?
The real benefit is having information from multiple sources that are different. So the more you can find evidence from sources that are from different time periods, both primary and secondary, and from different authors, that will add credibility to your argument because they come from varied sources. So imagine you were given the prompt, did Christopher Columbus discover the New World? You start doing your background research and you know that you want to find information from multiple sources. The first place you could look is this letter written by Columbus where he announces his discovery of the New World in 1493.
A second source that you might consider is another primary source, this one written by Pope Alexander, who grants land claimed by Columbus to Spain. And so it kind of builds off of the first source. It corroborates the idea that Columbus discovered this new world. But because these are both primary sources, we might need to look somewhere else for a different type of source that would help really synthesize this information.
So a way that we could strengthen this argument is by adding an opposing source that is also a secondary source. So if we search, we can find the source here that says Christopher Columbus didn't discover the New World, he rediscovered it. This article presents information that the Vikings, specifically Leif Erikson, discovered the New World before Columbus did. So this is strong to do, or a good option, because it adds a secondary source, it adds a different author, and it adds a different perspective or point of view.
And just to recap then, synthesizing multiple sources is synthesizing information across multiple sources to support an argument or explanation.
Okay. So again, right now in your course, you should be to the part where you're synthesizing, you're looking into the different primary and secondary sources, and you're supposed to be, whenever you're saying what the main idea is or what your argumentative claim is, that is what you think is being said. And then you provide textual evidence by going back in and finding quotes that prove your point. So we'll try to work more next week on how to actually look for the evidence, how to quote things properly. So you need to make sure that whenever you're making your claim, you're going back in and providing evidence, meaning quotes. Just this one is real quick. I just want to discuss a little bit. I know some of you are new to the summit, and it's completely different than than everything you've done before. But I just want you to know that, different doesn't always mean bad. So I know you're probably frustrated a little bit because it's new. It can be a little confusing. But for those of you who are into your second year now, you can definitely tell you get it more, you understand. So the summit is different, but it's a good way to learn. So I just want you to watch this short video about learning with Summit.
At the start of the year, I was like, I can't do this. Like, there's no way I can do this. And then as time went on, she was able to kind of open up and ask questions. Summit Personalized Learning was all about kids. It's about their choice. It's about helping them take ownership of their own learning.
So what I want you to do.
Content's important, but it's more about getting the kids to understand who they are and how they learn. Our kids can articulate to you now what kind of learner they are. Am I kinesthetic? How do I learn best? Taking notes. Am I an auditory learner? They can all tell you. They couldn't in the beginning of the year. And I think that's one of the biggest things that kids learned along the way is how do I learn?
So it's changed. I felt like I've learned more now. So if I ever struggled with something before, it was like you struggled. That's the end of it. Teacher's done teaching it. That's it. Now it's like if I'm struggling with something, I get to keep learning it, and I actually like learn it.
Just to see that process change, to see the kids learn where the resources are, learn how to go outside the resources and find things themselves. They've changed a lot.
So this is just the last thing. If you never try, you'll never know. So some of you, like I've said at the beginning, haven't even attempted the Revolutionary America focus area. So while it's different and it might be more difficult right now, you have no idea what you're capable of if you don't try it. So it's time to get to work. It's okay if you don't get it right the first time. The summit is not about getting it right the first time. If you don't have it correct, I provide the feedback and I'll send it back to you until you get it right. So you're not graded until you feel like you've turned in your best possible product. So just make sure you start trying. So for week 5, this week from September 20th to September 26th, you should be completing the Revolutionary America focus area. And you should see on the PACE chart, if you're following along, again, that's in the About page of the Google Classroom. If you're following the PACE chart, so from 9:20 to 9:26, you should have already completed Revolutionary America. So if you haven't yet, finish it. For those of you who have finished that first focus area, you have plenty of time to work on this additional focus area of civic participation. That is the only one that I will approve for now, unless you finish the entire project. If for some reason you're really close to finishing the project and you finish the focus area and the whole project within the next week or two, then and only then will I allow you to do the U.S. Constitution and move on. So if you're sitting there saying you have nothing to do, if you have not done the additional focus area, I recommend doing that. And if you're already on pace in the checkpoints, just move ahead. So again, you should be finishing Revolutionary America and finishing up checkpoint 2 and maybe starting checkpoint 3 if you already have. Okay, so if you have any questions, please send me a Hangout or a message directly in the Summit platform, and I will talk to you next week.